Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, we're back. We're just getting things set up here.
Just finishing griping about
Yes.
players.
It's a thing that we do.
Why we beat them up when they're not here and NPCs.
Yep.
Yep, that is true.
I was thinking about just like coming in and like while you were fighting him, just like kill him because I thought he was attacking you, and she'd be like, "Oh, he's dead." It's like, well, there's nothing we could do about it now. Does he have any magic items on him?
No, he unfortunately didn't because nobody would give him magic items,
Well, he did get a +1 ring of protection that I traded for that katana,
which was useless.
which was great.
250 gold right there.
Yeah, 250 gold.
Shouldn't have arm wrestled.
No,
Should have just rolled.
should have just kept it. That's the fun thing, though. Natural 20.
Mm-hmm. Well, now you know your way to win is to just do athletics checks.
Yeah.
So that's your. Well, yeah, he did screw up at darts.
Yeah, but I had a good chance for it, so I'll just have to. I'll have to start intimidating you. That's all. Got a +7 to my intimidation rolls.
That would be your way to subdue my playing.
All right.
Like, I'm gonna do this. I'm like, no, he's not. I'm gonna intimidate him not to.
I'm gonna have to stealth around you.
So, well, do you guys want anything you want to talk about, get on the table, D&D or otherwise related before we jump into today's discussion topic of engaging the player and realism and whatnot?
No way. No, I thought. Actually, tonight's game was
Yeah?
engaging.
Yeah, you
Added a depth to characters.
And again, I mentioned this to you guys off the air that we might have somebody new starting with us next week. First time playing D&D. Doesn't know any of us, the three of us at all.
Mm-hmm.
Only know Sean and want to make her feel welcome to this game. So I kind of, as you might have seen through the way this one was kind of played, there was more role-playing stuff done around the town. Things where there were sort of some voices, kind of. I didn't really, everybody was kind of generic. There was not a lot of different races that can pull in different, like dwarves would have a different kind of like an accent and things like that. Versus these were all humans and half elves, so there's not really.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there was a
Liam.
voice for the elf at the end there. That was more of an attitude than a voice, but
Naturally.
He was in his own character, that's for sure.
and again, I want to try to do this whole more describe the physical combat, so it's not just like 23 hit and dead. Because it's boring. Mm-hmm. It's boring for you guys to watch. It's boring for you guys to play. It's more exciting when you get to hear me come up with...
what actually happens, like what our characters are doing. Now I am Theron, and Theron has his issues and problems. And...
Right, and whether, your sword, whether you miss completely or if it hits a shield and skims off or whatever it is, describing things more that way. And I actually, I have been watching more... Critical Role, which I'm sure most of you guys who are watching our show know about that. Our Thursday night show, unfortunately, airs around the same time as Critical Role, so we lose we get the viewers for like the hour before Critical Role starts, and then Critical Role starts going, and we lose everybody. But Matt Mercer does an amazing job describing things there, so I've been taking a lot of inspiration from that, and I actually really like his concept that I saw him do in one thing where it was a new player to the D&D in general and to their game. She was just a guest player for like 2 episodes. They fought a white dragon, and like it was harrowing. Like because the way this is done and the world is so immersive and everything. Like 2 of the characters were down to 2 death saving. Like they had 2 saving throw failures.
Oh wow!
Were 1 away from dying, and like you could see the terror on their party members' faces of like. No, we can't let them die. Quick, somebody get over there now. Like, get them a healing potion. Dump it down their throat. We got to keep them alive. And that was really cool to see. But the one of the new characters, the tiefling warlock they had with them, she'd been witch bolting like the whole time out of a 5th level slot, so 5d12 or whatever it is.
Nice.
And like it hit like everybody with a breath weapon, and it like took one guy down, and like somebody else was hurting. And it hit her with like the breath weapon, and she used just like the tiefling hellish rebuke,
Huh.
So it did like 9 points of damage. That was it, because it's only 2d10, but that was enough to kill the dragon.
Nice.
And what I thought was really cool was he actually was like, so how do you want to do it? He's like, you killed the dragon. Tell me how you want it to go. Like, and I'll describe it because you did the feat. And so basically what she said is like, I want like, just this intense rage, and I want to be, like levitating and all this other, like, so basically the way he described this, he took what she said and worked it into like, it hits her, and then like she just, the eyes turn red, and as she steps forward, she's an inch off the ground, and as she continues to step forward, she's like walking on air, and then like all this black energy surges around her from the deepest parts of the 9 hells, and then it erupts out in a beam and hits into the side where the armor is chinked in the dragon, and it goes inside, and the dragon kind of like laughs it off, and then it starts to like walk forward as it's coming down the mountain, and then like it just starts to envelop outwards from the inside, and it gets consumed in black flames, and the dragon is dying, and it's like death. It's like, no, I won't die, and all this stuff, and I'm like, that's really, like, I like the concept of allowing somebody that does something like that like, you threw a javelin and took down that green dragon, but like, could have been like, how do you want it to go? You threw the javelin, you killed it, tell me how it happens. Gives you an opportunity to really own that. I mean, not with like a goblin or orc, but like some major, like you guys kill a beholder or whatever it is, like some big enemy.
Yeah.
Some beast.
So I like that.
That is cool.
I like that concept. It was just kind of a little caveat there to add.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's you gotta bring the characters into the narrative.
And he also has a really cool concept too, which I didn't do it tonight just because I loosely thought about it, but for dealing with role playing, and it's really everybody does what they want to do and however you want to deal with role playing to get experience. But his concept is take the character's level, multiply it by 25, I think.
Okay.
So you guys are level 6.
Mm-hmm.
So
150.
150. So what he would do is basically each time you do something in character, role playing wise or whatever, he like has a list and he puts like a hash mark next to everybody.
Nice.
So like you did something cool, like you failed spectacularly but it was awesome, so like 1, or like you did something super cool, so I'll put like 3 hash marks, and at the end of the night he does that whole take your level, multiply it by 25, and then whatever that is, 150 for this, you would look at it and say, okay, you've got 2 hash marks, so that's an extra 300
Nice
experience for the cool stuff that you did that was non-combat related.
Cool.
And I kind of like that concept because it's a fairly, I feel like it's a decent amount, because like this game was more role playing than actual combat, and you fought a couple of goblins.
Yep.
And a ranger.
Beat the crap out of Isaac.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even do anything. I shot a couple arrows and missed.
Yeah, beat him up.
So
Pretty well.
You were a thug.
But not everything is about just fighting. Sometimes it's about the role playing, and I've expressed that before, that I really enjoy that more than combat in a lot of sense. Unless you kind of do this where you have somebody, the battles are epic and people are down and they're up, and coming up with all sorts of crazy concepts and doing all these things, controlling other people with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of build this larger feeling, and the fight seems bigger. So the role playing aspect is something I enjoy. But anyway, that's kind of sort of on topic. Not on topic.
I think that's on topic.
But
role playing is a big part of building immersion.
So, what else? What about you guys? Ideas?
What about you, Pat? You've mostly played. What do you remember when you look back on it? What seems the most real, the most full?
When we were in the pub with Anthar Froome.
Oh yeah.
And we were all playing the card game and just acting out. All of us were acting and being engaged in not only what's going on around us, but the cards themselves and just the other people and how many rounds of drink they were receiving after every round of cards, and just as the night went on, so did the role playing, because you got drunker and drunker, and some people were able to handle it, so they were able to
keep drinking.
Keep drinking,
passed
keep
out.
winning poker chips, and other people were just making stupid decisions because they were drunk and stuff. So
Yeah, again, I feel like 9 times out of 10, no one really ever says, "Oh man, that one fight I was in is the one that really like was really immersive." That fight, it's like that time at the tavern, that time we convinced so and so to do something. You know, it's always, I say more times than not, it's the role playing that really is what you really kind of remember in the immersive part of the game. Not that that's not always the case. I mean, you can have memorable battles. You almost kill your friends twice.
Right. That does it.
You roll double ones
Yeah.
on an disadvantage. It was disadvantage?
No, we had advantage.
You had
on that.
advantage and you rolled 2 ones. Yeah.
Oh.
That's a
it
new
felt
level
so
of
bad.
it.
I think the memory that I have most was actually right at the beginning of when we fought that ogre with the shield, and the Medusa went and tried to turn him to stone after like expressly saying like, I don't like turning people to stone. I was like, go try it. And the Medusa went and tried it and got turned to stone. And I was like, oh, I'm such a dick.
I forgot about that. Yeah, and then we left her there, I think. Or no,
No.
she unpetrified.
Yeah, when we destroyed one of those other casks
Yeah,
full
or
of something.
Yeah.
Tom was like, I thought about this character for a while. She's unpetrified. But I felt like such a dick. I think moments like that, you know, it's like where your character's like, you know, you do something bold or you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this or that, and it just totally doesn't work out at all like you planned. And then you're sitting there, you're like, I guess now I have to deal with this, and that's fun.
Yeah, I'd say my most memorable moment from being engaged in a story was one of the first D&D games I ever played, and we kind of started off, it was a rough start to the campaign. This is my first time playing, and it's funny because the game I just started playing last week on Wednesday, which I'll be again playing tomorrow night, it's like it's the first time for three of the 4 party members, me being the fourth. And the DM's only been playing D&D period for only 2 years. So I am way far and away the veteran of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm doing my best to just like shut my mouth when I'm like, it's wrong. That's not how it works. The mechanic is wrong. You're doing it wrong. But it's nice to be able to disconnect and be a player and be like, can I make this check to do this? It's like, cause I know this is a thing. Like can I make an investigation check on that? Oh yeah, sure.
Great.
Cool, let me do that. And then everybody else is like, oh wait, yeah, let me do that. And then like I don't feel like a jerk. Like I'm like, it's not an investigation check for me to figure that out. You know.
But close enough.
But like it started the same way. My very first game, I like the DM was like, okay, you wake up in a bar, your 2 companions are in the rooms down the hall. What do you do? And I said, I go downstairs and I get drunk.
Nice.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I said, I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons. I watched 8-Bit Theater's, you know, D&D thing, which if you haven't seen, we'll have to watch that after this because it's hilarious. It's only like 5 minutes, but and if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description. You guys check it out. And I was like, I want to get drunk. So he's like, my DM's like, all right, you do this 3 fingers on the wrist to the barkeep, which he knows is the 3 strongest drinks they have in the tavern, and you start throwing them back, and you're an elf. You're like 85 pounds. And you are just shit-faced. And I was like, this is awesome. We're also playing in a library because like nobody thought to find a place to play. So we're playing this in our local library, and the DM lost everybody's character sheets.
Oh no.
So we're just playing without, like, we have nothing. We don't have dice, we don't have
Just
anything.
role-playing.
We're just role-playing this. So okay. So then my companions come down the stairs, and it's a monk and a sorcerer. It's a half nymph sorcerer and a half elven monk. And I'm the elven druid, and I'm drunk as all hell, right? So they're like, we gotta go. We have a meeting with the king of this town. Like, at 10 o'clock sharp, he's requested our presence. Turns out the DM was kind of showing me my place, and he's like, well, your character is the one that knows how to get there and has all the, like, the proper things to say. So... You know, and so they went out and like the sorcerer was like just a dick and a liar, so he stole horses from like the local watch. Like he just found them outside, took the horses, fine, and the monk spent a half an hour haggling with a melon merchant over the price of the melon. Melon merchant was like 3 gold, and he was like 5 gold, and it was like really stupid. And like he paid 3 gold for 3 like watermelons, and the DM's like, that's like 2 copper a melon, right? Like, what are you doing? So they threw me over a horse. We ride up. I puke all over the side of my horse. They use my cloak to wipe it off.
No.
So then we pull up there, and they're like, because he just stole horses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, the messengers from blah blah the nearby town have arrived, and we like what the fuck what did you do? We like open up the scroll, and it's a declaration of war from the nearby town, and we're like, nope.
We just came to visit the king.
So like we walk in, and then I don't remember, but we basically like we were in the stables, like we got to get out of here, like we are supposed to bring a declaration of war. We were just supposed to meet the king for something else, and like the stable boy overheard our conversation.
Oh no.
So I was like, well, arrow through the stable. My first critical hit was on the stable boy.
Oh.
So I killed the stable boy with an arrow through the head, and then the sorcerer burns the barn down. And turns out later they were like, why did he have an arrow, like a hole through his skull? And I was like, he seemed always a little like off. Maybe that's why he was like kind of slow.
Yeah.
A hole in his head. So we went to the other town and told them that the other town was sending a declaration of war to them. So we played both sides. But on the travels, we met this fighter on the road, and we went through like werewolf country.
Okay.
And like we were like at night, we got ambushed by werewolves, and like all of us are freaking out, and like this dude is just two swords, and he's just like slicing
Wrecking
through
stuff.
werewolves, and he's getting gashes on him, he's getting bit, and he's just like he's this grizzled guy, and we're like, he got bit, we got to take him to this place, and we take him to this healer, and she's like working on him for hours, and we hear him screaming, and she's pouring like silver powder over him, and we're like, oh my god, is he okay? And she's like, yeah, this is like the 5th time he's had this happen to him. So he's like a total veteran, and like this guy was like our like leader companion guy, and we traveled with him for like months, and we got to this one town, and we had like done this mission for like this one like sketchy person was like our next contact, and like we found out that the guy that we were working for then was like really evil, worked for somebody else. We killed him. And then like we went, like there was a whole big ruckus, and we went out to the front of the castle or the front of the town, and that guy from the beginning who fought the werewolves, his head was on a pike.
Oh no.
And like I was seriously like broken up about that. I was
Yeah.
like, I really loved this NPC. He was an awesome guy, and the DM just like
Killed him.
so like I went
Off screen.
immediately to like the nearest temple, and I was like, I'm changing my spells. I can cast Resurrection at this point. I'm gonna bring him back. And the DM is like, you go to cast Resurrection, and for some reason he's prevented from coming back. Someone is keeping his soul. And we never got to finish that campaign, so we never got to track down who the main villain was who had his soul, so he's still in limbo.
Oh no.
Not in limbo.
Limbo's
per se.
the worst.
Not in limbo per se. True. But like that whole like I remember like, and that was the end of that Saturday's game. Was like the last thing we did before we left was we found his head on a pike, and I was like,
No.
like I was distraught for like the whole ride home. So, yeah.
Yeah. You need to have lovable characters. And
Yeah,
then
you have to
torn
build
apart.
And the problem with some of these things is like you got to give your players a place that not necessarily that they call home, but that they visit, because you can't have lasting relationships with NPCs that unless they're traveling with them, because they won't have a place to like, or if they have a home, you know, you shake something up, someone invades their home, breaks their stuff, sets their house on fire, that kind of like you want your players to feel for something like. You know, if somebody dies and they don't like care, then you know, and like it's like, oh, sucks, so and so died. Oh well, he was kind of cool, I guess. You want to build realism, and you want to engage your player. You need to take something from them, or at least make them have something they fear being taken from them, and not just like gold or a magic item. Like, because I mean, almost every character in every D&D game or every role playing game ever, they're orphans. Their parents are dead. Because it's easier that way. I don't have parents I have to deal with, and nobody can use my parents against me because my parents are dead, my family's dead, I'm a lone wolf. But then I met these friends, and now we're buddies, and we party together, and we fight things, but we all can take care of each other, you know.
and ourselves.
I mean, how many times have you ever played in a game or in anything where, like, your character personally has, like, close familial ties that you...
No.
Typically not, right?
I mean, Theron's got, the Church of Ilmater.
Right, which is... But, I mean, it would be hard to raise an entire church full of people.
Oh, yeah, no. Especially since, some of those guys got to be reasonable level clerics or monks or paladins.
Right. So it's just, I feel like, again, you guys, I mean, this was more of a personal thing because you and I all share the bond of what happened in the game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And that was more of a thing that, like, if I had done that and Sean was here, he wouldn't have gotten it. It wouldn't have worked. But you guys were here, so I was able to incorporate that.
Right.
So I did. But, like, you need, I mean, you guys spent a lot of time in Phandalin more than he ever did.
Yeah.
And did you feel for any of those characters enough that if any of them were to get harmed or kidnapped, would you have ran to their rescue?
Oh, yeah. Pretty much the guy with the apple orchard, the old fighter.
Okay, I figured that he would have been one that would have.
Sister Gabriel. Just because I picture her as like this cute, dark-skinned chick. And so, definitely. And then Droop
Immediately.
and the family.
Droop, yeah,
Droop
all right.
and the family. And not Harbin Wester, though.
No.
I think if he got captured, I'd have been like, we're going to have an election. Find you guys a new mayor.
It's too busy eating his ointment.
Yeah. Ugh. That fat jerk.
But you know what I mean? Like, if you guys ever go back to Phandalin, you're going to want to check in with those people.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
If you move on from Red Larch because you just happen to be here now because I had a quest that I wanted to run with the Oni because I liked the way it played when I sent you over here to this town.
Yeah.
You may very well move on in the next campaign, the next session, and you're gone from Red Larch for years theoretically, and you come back, check in on who's there and who's around, but
Rick.
To engage with people, you need to like them and build a bond with them. So I feel like that's one good way to build realism and engage the players and get them really involved.
Braxton.
Take an interest in the NPC.
Yeah, exactly.
So they take an interest in you.
Yeah. Building a relationship, connecting with an NPC. I did that too in the Wednesday game. I went to a local salesman and I told him I would spread the word of his shop, and he said, if you do that, and I'll know if you do, you get 20% off anything in the shop.
It's pretty good.
And like nobody else in my party cared to do that, and I was like, well, what do I need to?
not?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like I was like, let me go talk to this guy. People think he's kind of kooky and weird, but that typically means that he's, people are put off by things they don't understand.
Sure.
Let's talk, friend. So what else you got for ways to build realism into your world?
I think sometimes you gotta have battles that are bigger than just the characters. It's like you're part of a caravan, so you're not all of the guard of the caravan. This is a 12-wagon caravan.
Right.
There's 40 orcs that are gonna come fight, but they're not just gonna attack you because you gotta scale things up, or if your players are just all caught up with something. Like these guys were all caught up trying to solve a puzzle that I gave them, but they were in the middle of the bad guy's castle.
Right.
So it's like, sure, you guys could be all caught up and do that, and that's great, but other things are going to be happening, and people are paying attention.
Yeah, it's not all in a vacuum.
Yeah. So if they had just figured it out without interacting with anybody, they were just going to get jumped by a couple assassins and be like, you figured out the puzzle, we want to get the treasure, great. But then Pat's character started talking to all the people, and he didn't know anything about what he was supposed to know things about. And so they figured out that they weren't actually with the dragon cult, and they all got captured and tortured. And then the druid never escaped, and I was expecting the druid to escape with animal shape. Oh, I shaped into a spider, and
walk away.
I'm no longer in the jail, but she didn't. So I had to come up with another way for them to get free.
Huh.
But,
She's a battle druid.
yeah, one of our characters almost got drowned because he was because he had solved the puzzle, and they were trying to get him to do it for him so that they could get the treasure. So he was, they were like, we're going to kill your friend. And he's like, well, I guess then I'll come do it. And he was trying to stall for like an hour, and they were getting really mad. So they started drowning him. But then he came and got rescued just in the nick of time. And that felt.
He stalled for like 2 hours.
Yeah, he stalled for like a whole hour. He had good rolls though. He was rolling like first his persuasion was good, and then he didn't pass out while he was getting drowned. So
Impressive.
yeah, yep.
2
Held his
minutes
breath.
They held him under?
No, just a
Third
minute.
time?
The third time was, or the fourth time was going to be 2 minutes.
Oh.
But he made an 18 Constitution save.
That's fun.
So I was like,
good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So what about you, Pat? Anything else that has come up to you, or maybe if you don't have something in a game you've played where you were immersed, but something you think
Would immerse you.
would help to immerse you, or give me dialogue if you think there's something that would help me to immerse you more in the game. Let me
What do
know.
you think
now.
about the maps? You think the maps help for immersion?
Maps help.
Because
Okay.
when I do out maps,
Mhm.
and
They help a lot.
yeah,
I think that's the reason I built my map was so to try and create more immersion. I thought if I created a city and different types of things like a blacksmithing station or a
Sure.
barracks and a shop tavern.
it's like, well,
keep-
what's here?
Yeah, it gives you a better picture of the mind, and then you can start to assume, okay, well, there's going to be somebody in here when I go and talk to them, and I wonder what they're going to say, how we're going to interact. But maybe one thing I haven't seen is maybe incorporating different cultures more instead of going off of, maybe this is just a different approach, approaching individual NPCs at one at a time, maybe describing the bustle of the amount of people. Say if you're in Waterdeep, obviously
Sure.
there's the arenas and a lot of the animal cages, so there's a lot of different
People
types
around.
of creatures and people.
Yeah.
Sure, and I feel like, I mean, just as a comment to our own game, unfortunately, we've been mostly in small towns, so
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot to
Backwoods.
describe. But you guys are planning to eventually make your way to one of the larger cities, I think.
Never went to right
Is
now.
where you were planning to head eventually, but you kind of got sidetracked on your way there,
Now we have these rats to deal with.
right? And eventually, I think when you take a long rest, Ilmater may send you a
Oh,
message
good.
in your dream, potentially.
Oh, well, I hope so. It's a roll. It's like, never mind, don't roll. He's just gonna do it. He's a guy.
The lower you roll, the better. Jake's gonna be like natural 20.
Natural 20. Natural 20.
But so anything else that you think that could help aside from maps? And again, the bustle of and the breakdown of the racial configuration of the town. 25% human, 50% elven, whatever it is. I feel like definitely will help when we get to a town that doesn't have maybe 200 people tops in it.
Right.
So, I mean,
who's gonna be
Phandalin
literally
had
disgusted?
Phandalin had like 25 people in it. Like
Yeah.
all of the NPCs that you met were basically the town.
Yeah. All the people in the tavern who were talking about stuff. That was
Yeah,
everybody else.
Red Larch has a little bit more, but you kind of got rid of one of their members already, so
Yeah.
sent him off. Not
Well.
that he did a whole lot for the community, but
Run into. I'd like to see how elves react to me eating. Like
interesting.
see if
Okay.
somebody actually ends up being like disgusted by it or like
Sure,
offended. Because I'm trying my best to really just be gross with it.
Oh, you are doing a good job. For sure.
Yeah. But no, I like the way you build characters and worlds. It's like everybody ends up being interesting. Like all the people you talk about, like even if they don't have any like specific purpose, they you counterplay whatever we're doing well. And I think that that tonight really drew me in.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Trying something a little bit different. And again, I also feel like this is nice because this is a group where I can do that. Like my group of friends that I play with once a month, it's like maybe one or two of us will be engaged. Like, and it's sad because like I know like I have this really cool character that I built, and yeah, he's a tiefling. I feel like tieflings should have an accent. I feel like it's like they're more exotic. I feel
Sure.
like it should be, and they should have a
French, right?
yeah, right. Yeah, and this air of mystery about them. You know what I mean? We. But it's neither here nor there. If I were to do that, I feel like it'd just be I'm wasting my energy to do that. To like
Right.
with like, let's see, it's probably gonna be, let's say 6 guys, 5 guys in DM, right? It's gonna go like, I'm gonna spend all this time like perfecting how I talk and like the catchphrases and and ways and gestures and hand movements and things like that, and it's all just gonna be like, so you cast Fireball? Yeah, I cast Fireball. Okay, cool. It does how much damage? 36 damage. Cool. These guys are dead.
No.
Cool. So now it's your turn. You know what I mean? Like, and it'll get lost. I feel like I won't be.
You're not being rewarded for your effort.
No, I mean I have been told in this game that like shenanigans. There's no real like hard stop on shenanigans. Like if you can think it up and you can make it believable, it's like no holds barred. It's game. Anything's game.
Shenanigans happen.
But like, you know, how much like. Okay, I can think of a lot of ridiculously crazy shit that I could do, especially as a wizard with a million spells, but I also want to be, like, engaged in the role-playing side of things, and like I said, I'll be, like, I could be having a conversation with one other player character and an NPC played through the DM, and, like, the three other people at the table are just going to be like...
When are we going to kill something?
So, is he bad? Is he evil? Do we know that? Has anybody spoke to him? He's kind of. I don't like the way he looked at me. Can we like
murder him?
Is there like a pit fight? Can we pit fight? Can we start a pit fighting ring? Is there a pit fighting ring? Can we do that? Is there gladiators?
Fight Club?
Are we the gladiators? We are the gladiators.
And it's like
we're gonna challenge the town to a gladiator fight. The whole town? Yep.
And like I like that, and I do plan on eventually setting up a town somewhere in this game that we're playing where there will be some sort of pit fight or gladiatorial arena and things like that. But I'm thinking something different. I'm not thinking
dojo.
Could be. I'm thinking more. I feel like that's a thing that could definitely happen. I'm thinking more along the lines of it's a gladiatorial arena, but monsters are brought in. And you're only given a very brief description and a gold value for defeating the monster. And then it's no holds barred. That monster could be
100 goblins.
Could be 100 goblins. It could be an adult green dragon that they probably not dragon because they really wouldn't be able to capture a dragon. I feel like,
but like serious wizards to bring in a dragon.
You know, a bunch of salamanders or a gray render or whatever.
Couple minotaurs.
Stuff like that. They're captured and thrown in there, but like you have a very brief, like a 1 or 2 word description, kind of describing the fight, and a gold value associated if you win.
Nice.
And like you guys go in and it's you leave or it leaves and that's it.
You either
no
die
holds
or...
barred, and that's how it goes. And there's a dome, a magical dome to prevent things from and people are watching and cheering you on as this happens. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I just haven't figured out where. It's gonna be a town big enough to house that, and then like
Neverwinter.
But like you guys win, and then like. Okay, well, you killed the biggest monster or whatever it is that they had. Well, now they gotta go get another one. So, you can't do this for however long till they send somebody out to go get a new one. And that's that. And it's like, well, you guys could go get it, but then are you gonna go get it, capture it, bring it back, try to fight it? No. So, you might leave whatever this town is, Gladiatoria or whatever I'll call it, and you travel away for months to go do something else, and you swing back around, and lo and behold, team non-existent name shows up again, and we've got a brand new fight for you guys. So that kind of
we do need a team name. You're right.
It helps.
After we destroyed those goblins, I was like, you're right. We could be like, and don't forget, we're these guys.
Well, and it also helps it also helps the NPCs, like Braxton, for instance. Braxton could be like, do you know who endorses my brand of red large storage? Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
They give me their full endorsement, you know what I mean? Like, and then you guys, again, you get a name. Maybe you design a logo and you get it on your armor. Maybe you get a signet ring so you can emboss it in wax, so that way you guys can here's our note, this Braxton storage is under the protection of whatever, mess with him at your own risk.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It's hard to come up with it.
Sure, I mean...
The something knights.
You guys have got... I'm not going to put a cap on the time limit yet.
Right.
Eventually, I will say, by this, I'm going to give you a week. Like if I was going to do it now, I'd say by the time we start next week, you need to know the name of your group. But like we don't even have everybody here, and we know we're going to possibly be getting somebody else. So maybe Celine will bring in a brand new perspective, and then everything clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe something real cool will happen, and we'll be like, "There we go. We're these guys, the something slayers."
Yeah. I mean, right now, my Thursday night game, Sean hasn't shown up for the last game. He's not showing up for this game. So the 3 remaining people have been calling themselves a Triforce.
Nice.
But it's a 4-player group, but he's not there. So,
It's the empty middle part of the Triforce.
Yeah, he's the middle part, yeah. So, what else do you guys think about could you do to further add... We talked about engaging your players. I do think another way to do that, too, is rather than, like, having the NPCs kind of pose an open question to the group, singling out a player.
People, yeah.
Like, you walk up to, the Joe Schmo dwarf guy, or he's like, you! Points at you. What do you think about this? Points directly at, Theron and asks his opinion. And that way it's not like a... And then if somebody speaks up, he could be like, no. What do you think? I want to know what you think.
What do you think of this? We are the Ark.
The Ark?
You have so many animals, and you for a good God and for the sun.
Yeah, and we're trying to find a ship so that we can transport 2 of every animal before the big flood comes that Ilmater is about to warn me about.
No, like Halo, the Ark.
Oh.
I mean, his arc, I feel like I was more on board with the animals, the sun, we're looking for a ship.
Yeah, but for me, the Halo Ark.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be an outer spaceship. We're going to have to go into limbo. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I've got an 8 intelligence. You got to remember that.
That's what my first ship was called, was the Ark.
Ah.
So
we could be the
Raiders
Raiders,
of the Lost Ark.
Agents of the Lost Ark. All right, I like that.
keep that down, and we'll bring it up next week with Sean, and hopefully Celine are here as well.
Sean will go for that.
I'm sure he will.
Not Raiders, though.
So basically, you guys have decided to help me then? Is that what it is?
Well, I don't know. He doesn't know what limbo is.
Yeah.
What's limbo?
What is limbo? Sean doesn't know. He doesn't know what limbo's from.
Some freaking fade magic cleric he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything about the planes or the weave.
I know all about you guys because we know about planes.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I think limbo might be a city. I'm not really sure.
We go to places that
I think it's a
cities.
city on like a sea ocean.
Floating?
A flying ocean city, Atlantis?
But there's no water. Some water.
And I feel like, again, we've kind of talked about it before too. Another way to engage your players is if they get into a conversation and it's not disrupting the whole group, to just let them do it. Like, it's really easy tonight when there's two of you. If your characters get into a conversation, I can just sit back and let it happen, and it's not preventing anybody else from having fun, and it allows you two to interact in character and do what you want.
Like when we played darts.
Like when you play darts. It's not like 2 or 3 people out here are sitting and they're just like, unless like they're really into it and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna put,
I would be betting.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. We had that in our one campaign where we got into a pit fight and they were only gonna allow 3 people in. And there were 6 people in the party, so 3 people went in, and the other people started betting on other people who would win.
I'm gonna bet on my own guys to win.
Pickpocketing everybody that's doing bets.
Yeah.
But
Then you get caught, and then you have to run away while these guys are.
poof.
I wasn't supposed to enter. My character wasn't supposed to enter the pit fight,
Oh no!
but it did.
Ah,
I made it to the final round.
nice. Did you win?
I lost to our fighter.
Oh, that's how it goes. Did he kill you? No.
I almost won too. The DM didn't realize that you add your strength modifier, I think, when you do unarmed strikes.
Oh.
So that would have really changed a lot of things. So I definitely I critical hit a couple times. I think.
That makes the difference.
Well, I was a paladin, so I could smite with my fists. So I could. So he was a fighter, so he could action surge me, sure, but I could do like 48 with a punch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was his second wind that like got him enough health for like the thing to not just knock him out. I took out I fought a little girl. That was my.
Did you win?
Yeah, I critically slapped her with an open palm. Well, it was the other guy just bought her from the adoption agency. He went to the orphanage and said, "How much are they?" And they're like, "That's not how it works. Like you don't buy them." And he's like, 50 gold.
This one.
And he bought like a drow child, and she like gave it to him because she was like, "Sure." Just took his money, pocketed it, gave him this drow child, and he was like, "Well, it's also a drow child as far as he knows, but it could be like a 40-year-old elf. He just doesn't know."
Right.
Because it's it's an elf child.
They stay
so he enrolled her in the pit fight.
Ah. And
he was he was a wizard, so he was using illusion magic to like make her win the fights. Like she went up against this guy and he used like I don't know, phantasmal force to make like a phantasm illusion Anubis warrior appear behind her to like scare the other guy, and then had it beat the guy up.
Nice.
And then like she was just like and then she won, and then she fought me in the next round, and I was like I just open hand slap her on the face. Like I'm not gonna hit this girl, but then I rolled a 20 and I was like, can't take it back. And they're like, and she goes flying against the wall, and I was like, whatever, them's the breaks, kids.
I cheer loudly.
Life's not fair. She came back later in the final match against Tiamat, and she actually became like a pretty badass fighter in the end.
Nice.
And fought with us in the battle against Tiamat.
That feels good.
Daughter, that was her name.
Daughter.
Because he bought the daughter, and then we rolled on the carousing table for stuff, and he got a girlfriend that he left on good terms, so he just left her there with the girlfriend and just left and continued the adventure. That happened in like halfway, like before we made it to where they are, before we made it to that castle.
Oh, yeah?
That's when that happened. Like way early on. So
level like 5.
Not even like level 3.
Oh man.
Or level 2, because I only just had smites.
Nice.
So we left her there, and then like she didn't show up again until the final fight. Interesting times.
Like, oh yeah, I remember you.
Yeah.
You're my
I'm here to show you I can fight, Daddy.
Prove myself to you.
I think she was a veteran.
A veteran. Nice.
Yeah, like so.
It's not bad.
That's kind of what I used to make I'm sick. A veteran with a little more health than ranger stuff. Even though he never hit with Hunter's Mark.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And he had giant Colossus Slayer, but he only hit you once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, he just got pretty wrecked.
Yep.
Ran wrecked.
But you guys have anything else? This show, I don't know how long we've been recording this piece of it, but I'm just trying to think, because I feel like we've, making stuff people care about, building in maps, kind of building a greater world around everything.
Yeah, getting the feel of things, getting your characters involved, that's all it ever really is. It's if you give them positive feedback to the things they find interesting, then that brings it through. It's funny because the DM has to prepare so much more than everybody else, but without the flavor of the characters, it's like the DM can't really do too much alone.
Yeah, I didn't actually prepare anything.
It's like walking up with a tray of food to a cold grill. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, you gotta preheat it.
Yeah. No, I had some ideas for stuff for this one, but I have like very grandiose plans for future things, and I'm like, it's too early to start unveiling these dungeons and these magic items. It's too early for that. I got to do more stuff in the middle.
What level do we need to be before we can start working through some heavy dungeons?
Well, honestly, we might even get one from the lovely folks at Cobalt Press.
Ooh.
They have informed me that we will be receiving additional.
If you're watching.
Well, they actually told me to tell them when we're going to stream unveiling their new playtest monsters. They will promote us through their means as well to get more people to watch the stream.
Very cool.
So we will we will be getting, hopefully within the next day or two, a new monster. We're supposed to be getting at least 2 a month. We got the Greater Undead Butterfly Swarm,
Right.
which you guys really liked.
That one was
which
really
actually,
good.
after this, I was going to ask you a couple questions just to fill out a little report on that. But they're going to get us another one. And they also talked about potentially, along with the Tome of Beasts 300 plus new monsters, they also released a new thing called the the Book of Layers, which is all about full drawn out, full blown maps and layers for some of the monsters in various level or increments, like lower levels, but then again obviously very, very high level monsters. And the ideal goal for this campaign is to go all the way to 20, because they have a ton of monsters that are extremely high level, more so than are in the Dungeon Master or the Monster Manual.
Right.
And without that high level ability, we will never be able to face them, and theoretically never be able to playtest them either.
Yeah.
So I want to temper. I don't want you guys to just whip through levels. And obviously, like today was an example. You got like 700 XP or whatever it is.
Weren't worried about XP.
But no, I'm just like I don't want to just give you experience in arbitrary levels just to increase your power. I want it to kind of come as it comes. But if they give us a layer, maybe that's where that map leads.
Yeah.
To whatever layer that they lend to us. So
That
we'll have
would
to
be
be. Hopefully, we'll hear some stuff tomorrow and see kind of what stuff we're getting. They're interested to know the level, the makeup of the party, and what kind of setting we're in. But right now, we're kind of in a situation where we can go anywhere with this.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like a Gith from Limbo. What the fuck?
Well, I told them that ahead of time because I was like, that allows interstellar travel and also
the Gith what? Yankee?
Githzeri.
You're a Githzeri, but the Gith Yankee are like your sworn enemies.
But that could bring in monsters from that plane of existence that typically would not find their way into a campaign that doesn't involve planar traversal.
But not mind flayers, right?
I mean, I feel like you don't need to mess with mind flayers. Like, I don't know how they could add more. Like, what would you need to?
No,
I
nothing.
still worship
Stay away from mind flayers.
the mind flayer that overruled the Gith. The Githzeri worship that god still. For the greatness that they were able to bring the Giths up into, I believe. Cool. Whereas the Gith Yankee follow the head hero Gith who revolted against him.
I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, there's always a potential to go into the Underdark.
Yeah.
You don't have to. I'm not going to force you to go there, but I'm sure I can come up with a reason why.
If we have a reason to go there, we'll go there.
Yeah.
It's like you guys got all these sweet magic items, and then you went out to the sun, and they all got destroyed after a minute.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, hopefully they'll get us some new stuff. We'll have some new monsters. I actually have the art assets I'll show you guys, the Undead Butterfly.
Oh, yeah?
I finally got to see the picture. It might not be the final art.
Right.
But I got some art for that, and we will be able to show that. I don't know if it doesn't really make sense to show that now. It really just looks like a bunch of butterflies. But we will be able to show the art, and I will pull it up on the stream in the future when we fight new monsters as well, so you guys can kind of see what they're going up against.
They're very deadly butterflies.
Yes.
Lots of them.
That's the plan. So be on the lookout for that stuff, folks. And next week, we have a very interesting topic. And again, everybody just got to give a shout out to Jake, who's been on point with coming up with the topics for the past 3 weeks episodes.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about stuff and I'm like,
He just texts me, this is what we should do. What about this? So next week's, and you can feel free to email or whatever, or let Jake know what your thoughts are. We want to try to talk about outlining an evil campaign.
That's right. We want to come up with character motivations and plot twists.
Other than just I'm evil, so I kill this guy because I can.
Murder and mayhem.
Because I feel like that's what most people would treat an evil campaign as. It's like, I can do whatever I want, so I'm just going to kill everyone.
Right.
Well, you don't have a story then?
Yeah. You got to
I walk into the tavern and I kill everybody because I can. Oh, okay. You know what?
Well, how long can you do that before a group of paladins are going to be like, hey, there's these guys murdering everybody. We're going to go try and track them down.
Right, so coming up...
The gauntlet starts knocking at your door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Harpers aren't going to be happy.
Yeah, so we'll come up with...
Better find the network.
Yeah, exactly. We'll come up with ideas for, like you said, character motivations, story hooks, and overall overarching plot. Again, doesn't have to get specific, although you can, if you send us stuff, get as specific as you want. But we want to just kind of like, how are you going to like progress the characters and build the arc?
Right.
Is somebody going to struggle with, is this really the right thing I should do? Should I go more to the light?
Do you have neutral characters, or is everyone evil?
Right. Do you have people that, do you have good characters that fall, or fallen characters that seek redemption? Do for some reason that good characters and evil characters have to align to fight some other greater enemy?
Are the good characters coerced by the big bad guy? It's like, yeah, I've got your daughter.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, well, in that case, I'll just do whatever then.
Yeah. A little more vigilante. So yeah, that's the plan for next week. So anyway,
Should be
folks,
fun.
We will see you same time next week. Hopefully we won't. We'll get started a little bit earlier, although we might be delayed depending on if we have a brand new player who's never played before.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do our best to make her feel welcome. Celine's supposed to be playing a druid,
Which would be fun.
which we don't really have a nature-y person in the group. So someone that can deal with knowledge of nature and survival and things like that would be great for this group.
Yeah. Add a whole nother layer.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we will see you next week, and happy gaming, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Bye. Miss you.